What's up, guys? Welcome to the NorCal Sports Report here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all the sports. And today we have a very, very action-packed, full show. We got Steph Sanchez from 49K Podcast. You can find her on YouTube and on wherever you find your podcast. She'll be on here talking about the Senior Bowl and about the ongoing rumor that the Niners may be able to acquire Myles Garrett from the Cleveland Browns. It's an absolute game changer, guys. We're going to talk about it right here on the show. We're also going to break down all of the NBA rumors that surround the Golden State Warriors and their attempt to reacquire Kevin Durant. Is this real? Is it going to happen? We're going to talk about all of that today on the show right here on the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sport. What's up, guys? Welcome to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. My voice is a little hoarse today, but I'm going to push through it because I love doing this show. I love talking about Bay Area sports, NorCal sports, and sports in general. So, guys, welcome to the show. We're going to have Steph Sanchez, host of 49K Podcast. She's going to come on here talking about the Senior Bowl and what she saw when she was at the Senior Bowl for all 3 days, 4 days, however long it was. I'm going to talk a little bit about some Niner trade rumors and the Golden State Warriors. But before we get to all of that, let's hear a word from our sponsors. Planet Jerky, premium brisket beef jerky. The jerky that's on a whole other planet. You can order Planet Jerky over at planetjerky.net or follow them on Instagram over at Planet Jerky over on Instagram. We're also brought to you by Vital Apparel. IE Sports is proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use promo code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable gym wear. Ton of good stuff there. And help them on their amazing journey to support mental health awareness. It's a real thing, guys, so definitely check that out. We're also brought to you by Seal the Deal Wax Seals. You can follow them out on Instagram at SealTheDeal_Wax Seals, or you can order it at iSportsRadio.com/Seal the Deal Wax Seals. We got a new sponsor. It's Raw Nutrition. Use promo code IESR to get 10% off anything over at GetRawNutrition.com. I'm loving Raw Nutrition. I'm feeling great every single day. Definitely check out Raw Nutrition and go to GetRawNutrition.com. And don't forget to use promo code IESR for that 10% off. And of course, you can follow us over at IE Sports Radio, wherever you find your podcast. May it be Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Wherever you find podcasts, you'll find IE Sports Radio. You can also follow us on Instagram and over at Facebook and YouTube at IE Sports Radio. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We want to get this channel above 500 subscribers because we can do it, and we pump out a ton of content every single day. So definitely check that out. It's well worth it. It really is. And you can also follow me at NorCal Sports IE. That's the IE Sports account that I'm connected to. You can also follow me personally over at Dre Area Sports on X, Instagram, and on YouTube, the Dre Area Sports channel. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I'll drop clips and videos all week long on a Dre Area Sports channel, so make sure you stay tuned and locked into that as well. Guys, when we come back, we're going to have Steph Sanchez, host of 49K Podcast, talking about the Senior Bowl and some of the recent trade rumors surrounding the San Francisco 49ers. Guys, you're listening to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. In a few moments, I'm going to be joined by Steph Sanchez, host of 49K Podcast, talking about the Senior Bowl and about some of the recent Niner trade rumors. Let's go ahead and bring her on right now. Are you ready, Steph? I'm waiting for a thumbs up. Yeah, okay, here we go. Steph, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, Andre? Good to be on.
What's up? Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I saw you getting your stream together. I was like, oh, I hope she has enough time. But Steph, let me ask you, obviously everyone knows you from your podcast, which is the Steph 49K podcast. You can find her on YouTube and wherever you find podcasts. It's a great show, by the way. She is really good insight into the 49ers. I really enjoy watching her content. But let me ask you, you were just at the Senior Bowl. Can you talk to me a little bit about what that experience was like, and what are the players that you saw that you think are just phenomenal players, phenomenal prospects for the 49ers?
Yeah, it was a great week. Being the fact that the 49ers didn't make the playoffs, the one, I guess, positive is that I did get a chance to dive into these players a little bit early and get into draft mode earlier than I normally would. So
Yeah.
I went into it a little prepared, already had some, guys circled that I wanted to check out and see. So that was nice. And of course, there's always those guys that you don't check out beforehand that do end up standing out throughout the week and end up helping their draft stock. So yeah, I'd say definitely one of those guys was Gray Zabel, NDSU offensive lineman. He dominated the week working in the interior, just all 3 days of practice. He definitely lifted his stock and one-on-ones, team periods, all of that. He looked great, and I think he answered a lot of questions for teams that may have been concerned about the fact that he went to NDSU and smaller school and all that.
Right.
How is he going to look against NFL tier guys? So I think he did great. I'd say like other guys, Mike Green, I thought, of course, also
He was like the standout.
He was definitely a standout, and so he alleviated any concerns about his arm length and things like that, and he was winning consistently as well at the Senior Bowl. And then there's other guys that pop out from other positions. Wide receiver like Jack Beck out of TCU. He was one that definitely impressed, and he ended up having the game-winning touchdown for the game. So I think that was big, and I really like his style of play. As far as tight ends go, Arroyo was one who definitely stood out and just looked like a natural. His body, his frame is impressive, and then you see the way he moves, and he's very smooth, and so I think he was really impressive out of that week. As far as like other defensive linemen go, Walter Nolan was definitely one of those guys that I think it could potentially be an option for the 49ers at 11. He had a strong week as well. I'm trying to remember his name. Giannis Peebles. I don't know if I'm saying his first name correctly, but Peebles, impressive. David Walker, also another guy. So there's so much talent like across the board, especially in the trenches. There were a lot of guys I came away with. I wouldn't mind them being Niners. So it was a great week and yeah, just a lot of talent.
Yeah, no, I think it was really awesome that you got a chance to be there. Obviously, you were there with other content creators like Wayne Breezy. I think John Chapman was there. Johnny Dell was there. I was talking to him almost the whole time he was there, and he was even telling me how like you guys were on one side, and then across the way you can see John Lynch and D'Amico Ryans and all those guys. I mean, what was that like seeing those big heads of those teams, kind of walking around looking at the same players that you're looking at?
Yeah, well, it's my third year going to the Senior Bowl, so definitely not new to that part of it. And I've always taken a special interest to front office and what they might be interested in the draft. For some reason, like I've always just been gravitated to those kind of reports. Oh, they're meeting with this player and all that. Like I love that. And so really that's kind of why I started the draft sheet to begin with and the tracker, because I want to be able to identify trends of who the 49ers are interested in this current regime, right? What do they look for and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, seeing them, I'm definitely in tune to what they're looking at. And I will say, like, John Lynch, Derek Ahmad, all those guys, they were very interested in the trenches as well. 2 days in a row, especially on the national team side. That's the same. That was the defensive line, or sorry, the edges that KJ Wright was coaching up. Remember, on the national
Right.
team. So Mike Green, there's a couple other guys on that side as well. They were like front and center to the OLDL one-on-ones for the national team practices 2 days in a row. And I think on the first day they checked out the American team one-on-ones for the trenches as well. And so to me, I'm like, I definitely feel like they'll go defensive line with the 11th pick. And if I had to guess, maybe they're really interested in someone from the national team, or maybe just because KJ Wright's coaching them, they're taking a special interest to some of those guys. But yeah, I definitely tried to pay attention a little extra to what they were paying attention to.
Right. And then you posted this over on X. This is your mock draft. It's a little small, sorry. But this is the one you put together. And then talk to me a little bit about this. Now, you picked Shamir Stewart as their round 1 pick, I want to say.
Yes. So in this one, which, it's the first of many mock drafts that I'm going to do. Usually I wait a little before posting one because, people do criticize mock drafts. And actually that pick was one that people did criticize. Shamar Stewart at 16, I traded back. And so as I said, this mock draft was very influenced by Senior Bowl week and just what I saw, some guys that I liked. So this isn't really what I think necessarily the 49ers end up doing, but just some guys that I like. Shamar Stewart was a standout of the week at the Senior Bowl, so much so that, he didn't even go to the third practice. He didn't even play in the game because he was like, I'm done. I did what I needed to do. I proved what I needed to. Teams have taken a liking to it. So he pieced out after the first 2 practices because, he had such dominant days. So I did go with Stewart here at 16. Walter Nolan was available, but I was a bit of a prisoner of the ADP rankings in that moment. So I didn't go for him at 16. But like I said, I do think the 49ers would take him in the first round. Like, I do think that would fit a need, and it's a big need. And just based on the way he plays, the impact that he had, at Ole Miss, I think the 49ers could use some of that impact on their interior, the defensive line. And so I do think Nolan would definitely be an option there as well.
Yeah, I think that the defensive line is where I think they're going to use that first pick on, the number 11 pick, or maybe if they trade back. Either way, I really feel like the defensive line is where they're going to go. Like, they can't help themselves, especially if there's a pass rusher and an edge rusher that is available to them. I feel like Shanahan Lynch just won't be able to resist and go after him instead of going for the offensive line. Now, we talk about how much they love to bring in those defensive ends or pass rushers. They've been really big on that since Lynch and Shanahan took over. One of the main topics that we've been talking about lately is Myles Garrett. Now, there's this big talk because Myles Garrett said, I want to be traded. He requested a trade. The Browns formally said, we're not planning on trading him, but that doesn't really matter. You can say it all you want. If the player wants to get traded, then essentially he has all the leverage that he needs because he can then hold out if he wanted to. So let's talk about Myles Garrett, okay? I mean, the guy even went as far as to post the letters basically saying, thanks for everything, I'll see you guys later. So I don't see how they're going to, talk him into staying. Like, hey, look, we know you posted a letter, but hey, we'll give you some more money. No, I think the writing's on the wall. He sees that, hey, look, this is not an organization that's going to go anywhere. They invested all this money into Deshaun Watson, and that's been an absolute joke. Him and Justin Tucker are on the couch together trying to figure out what to do next. But here's the thing. When we talk about a trade for Myles Garrett, I think that this is probably the biggest game changer trade that they could possibly do. If they made this move and then didn't even do anything else, it would make their team so much better having him opposite Nick Bosa. Now, obviously, look, there's a lot that is going to be involved in a trade for Myles Garrett, and the asking price is not going to be just like one player, one draft pick. No, it's going to be a whole package. But what do you think about the prospect of trading for Myles Garrett?
I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. The 49ers have to be on the phone, as I'm sure 31 other teams, will be on the phone because it's a no-brainer for every team. I mean, I think that's the type of impact that Myles Garrett has and the type of player he is. You hear the word generational get thrown out a lot to describe certain players. I don't think it's any exaggeration or a stretch to describe Myles Garrett in that way. So I agree. I think he would be the game changer of all game changers for the 49ers, who do have a need at edge rusher opposite Bosa, right? You have been trying to find someone that can, I don't think you need someone that isn't as impactful as Bosa. I think they'd probably be happy with someone just serviceable, like they've had with Omenihu or Ebukam, or even Dean Ford in the past. But like, if an opportunity like this presents itself, you take it, right? Like you have to explore it. And I think Myles Garrett would be the kind of player that you find a way to make it work. Obviously, I think we know it would take a lot. I think the only thing working against the Browns in this case is that he's 29. So like what would some teams be willing to give up for that? I think the 49ers wouldn't care about that as much. I see fans care about it, which I don't think it's a big deal. I think at 29, 30, 31, Myles Garrett would be more impactful than any rookie, any two rookies that you can get in the next two drafts at pick 11 or, wherever else you're picking next season. So, I mean, that to me makes it the no-brainer. There'd obviously be some things to work out for both teams because from the Browns end, it doesn't make a lot of sense financially. They would have to there's some dead cap to his contract if they do trade him, especially if they traded him before June 1st. So I think the likeliness is that they have this hang around, around the draft, see if someone makes a ridiculous offer you can't refuse. But I think it makes more sense for them to wait until after June 1st. Will teams still be interested then? I think the 49ers definitely would be. I think the 49ers have to go all in on 2025. You got Salah back. You're looking at some guys who are at the end of their peak, I would think. And so I think you got to maximize what you can for this season. And so going after Myles Garrett would be super aggressive, but I think that's the mentality that they need to go into for this offseason.
I mean, could you imagine if they got this guy and he was on the defensive line with Nick Bosa? And not only that, but like, okay, so let's take a look at Myles Garrett in terms of his contract. He's scheduled to make what, $1 million, and then over here it's and then he has an $18 million option. But still, I think you can make this work. And basically, you have him for the next 2 years, the season coming up and the season after, and that's huge that you have team control for an additional year. Now, I really do think that. I mean, look, you're looking at an $18 million option. They might look to do a sign and trade where they give him a new contract. And if they're able to reduce the amount of money that they're going to be paying him this next season, then imagine this. Imagine they're able to get him at a lower rate for next season, not for forever, but just for next season. That would allow them to then go out and sign a guy like DJ Jones, right? So now you have, imagine Bosa, DJ Jones, Malik Collins, and Myles Garrett. I mean, that is That is nasty. And plus, DJ Jones is going to help shore up that the run defense up the middle. And you still got guys like Jordan Elliott who can now back him up as opposed to being out there more than he wanted to be. I also believe that at this point, maybe you do hang on to Leonard Floyd. I mean, it'd be awesome to have Leonard Floyd as like the sub in for the two of them, but based on his contract, they may let him go. But let's just say hypothetically, like in a fantasy world, if they were able to keep him, that would be unstoppable of a defensive line, and let alone just Bosa and Myles Garrett. And I think that if you get a guy like Myles Garrett, I think the Niners become automatic Super Bowl favorites. Because you hear other teams like Lions fans saying, "Oh, the Lions should go get him," but the Niners have a number 11 pick, so it's like we're giving you a damn near top 10 pick on top of other draft picks and other players. For him. I've even seen a trade request or a trade proposal, I should say, where the Niners would send 3 draft picks, obviously number 11 pick, a second round pick, a third round pick, and Leonard Floyd, so that at least they have a defensive end to replace him with, which I don't know if they would actually do that, but I think that if you threw it a package that had the number 11 pick plus, let's say, 2 or 3 more picks, I would sacrifice that because it's funny because, like you said, the draft picks are not a sure thing. This guy is a sure thing. And you know, so many content creators, including myself, have talked about, hey, look, the Niners can't fuck up this draft. They really got to focus on getting a lot of good players. But then when the name Myles Garrett comes along, we're like, dude, give him everything. Give him everything, you know? So I really think that this is a guy that is a complete game changer for the Niners. And not only that, but you got Diamond Lenore, who's over here trying to recruit Myles Garrett, which I loved. I was like, dude, thank God. Thank you so much for doing that. I wish more teams or more players would do that, right? And here he says, what type of animal you want to be? We got hyenas, bears, lions, and gorillas. I mean, that's awesome. I just think that bearing injury, if we get Myles Garrett, there's no one that can stop us. Nobody. The pass rush would be unstoppable.
I agree with that. That's why I do think the 49ers are going to go for it. I think they'll do more than just the due diligence. I do think I wouldn't be surprised if in some months, you know, you get the report of finalists for Myles Garrett. The 49ers would be one of those listed teams. I think they can afford to make that gamble. And it's not really much of a gamble. I think 49er fans are a little jaded of giving up a lot of draft picks, especially first-round draft picks.
Yeah, this is not Trey Lance. It's not Trey Lance.
It's not Trey Lance. To your point, this isn't. It's not a gamble, and it's not a. They traded up draft picks for a draft pick. You know what I mean? Like they traded up draft picks for a drafted player. This is draft picks for a known commodity, someone who's the top at their position. And who even still, like we're saying, at 29 is still better than what you're going to be getting out of an unknown draft pick, right? So that's why, you know, to me, it's a no-brainer for them to do it, and I think they have the picks to make it work. To your point, an 11 overall pick, I think, would entice the Browns to think about it a little bit harder than some other teams that and look, he wants to go to a good team. As far as the teams that are picking early, I think the 49ers are the best team picking early. Like so you give Myles Garrett what he's looking for, which is a good team that gives him a chance to compete for a Super Bowl, and the Browns get what they want, which is a higher draft pick. So I think it makes things interesting, right? As far as negotiation goes, I think the 49ers have an enticing bargaining chip in having the 11th overall pick.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking with Steph Sanchez, host of 49K Podcast. You can find her on YouTube and wherever you find your podcasts. We got 80 watching right now. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow my account over on X, which is Your Area Sports, and follow Steph over at Steph49K over on X as well. So here's a trade proposal that was put out there by what is this, ML Football. It says the Browns have received number 11 pick, a 2025 third round pick, a 2025, two 2025 third round picks. I think it'd take more than that. I think you have to throw in probably another draft pick from either this year or next year because they probably want a second rounder somewhere in there. But I think we have the draft capital right now. I mean, we were talking about the Niners had 10 draft picks in this upcoming draft. It was going to be 12 at one point. So they have the draft picks to do this. And yes, you are sacrificing a lot in terms of the future of your roster, but this is a for sure thing. This is similar to the Christian McCaffrey trade. We traded a lot, but we knew that McCaffrey was a sure thing. And he was amazing until last year when he had the injuries, which destroyed the whole season. Anyway, so we don't want to talk about last season. We want to talk about the future. But it would definitely spice things up. And for content creation, I mean, look, dude, if they got Myles Garrett, we'd have a ton to talk about every single day. And the excitement would be through the freaking roof. It'd be crazy. I got one more from my good friend Sterling Bennett. I think this is more of a joke, but let's see. He says, Myles Garrett trade proposal. 49ers receive Myles Garrett. The Browns receive a 2025 first-round pick, number 11 pick, and Jake Moody. I think include Jake Moody in any trade.
That's a joke. Yeah.
It is a joke.
That's an epic troll, but it's a good one.
It's a good one.
Because, hey, they could use a kicker out there, right? So we got to lightly use Jake Moody. But I've seen others as well, send them Debo or something like that. And I only tweeted about this because someone in my live chat brought it up. Is oh, what if they want Brock? Which you think about it, it actually would make sense if they inquired about Brock, seeing as how the 49ers haven't committed to him yet longer term. I don't think that happens. No,
I don't. But I mean, if they were to say, I want Brock, I would say no. Because then let's say you trade Brock, then what are you going to do? You're going to go try and sign Sam Darnold and then watch him fold like a lawn chair in the playoffs like he did last year? He looked awful in the playoffs. Sam Darnold. Yeah, I was like, oh, there he is. Bad. There's our boy.
Exceptionally bad. Yeah.
Exceptionally bad. It was awful. We got about 5 minutes left with Steph. I wanted to ask you real quick. When we talk about Brock Purdy, there's a new report that says that that Brock Purdy could end up getting a contract that pays him between 55 and 60 million. I'm thinking now it's at least 60 million. I thought 51 would be a starting point. I'm thinking now it's going to be somewhere around $60 million. It says, I think that's going to be the number that we wind up setting. Let's make it clear, though. I don't think Brock Purdy's sitting there going, I'm demanding. I want to be the highest paid quarterback. I think he just wants to be paid what he's worth and continue to improve and get them back to the Super Bowl. This is from Diana Rossini. What do you think about his contract? Do you think it's going to start upwards of 60 million, or do you think that they can get him to start at around 55 million?
I honestly think this is the ideal range for probably both sides. When I've been asked, what do you think he's going to get paid? This is the exact range that I mentioned. Although I've been saying 55 to 61 because there's that slight chance that him and his agent will try to push to be the market setter, which would, be above Dak Prescott's 60. So, this is the ideal range, I think, because, to Diana's point, I don't think he's necessarily driven by being the top paid guy. I think his agent, if anything, will try to get that. But I think he would be happy with 55 to 60. If you look at the other guys who are in that range, I think it's a respectable range for Brock to be in, just based on, look, we have a year and a half of Brock being really good, but we also have 2024 of Brock being, a little – it wasn't the same type of performance we had seen from Brock. So we have this, it also wasn't as terrible as I think some fans make it seem. So I don't want to make it seem like it's a canyon of what he could be in 2025. But even still, I do think just it was different enough where I think it was enough to give the 49ers some pause about paying him 60, because if he had the same type of performance that he had in 2023 and the half of 2022, I don't even think you think twice about it. I think you hand him the blank check and say, here's 60, 61 and whatnot, right? But because of this 2024 season that he had, I think, you want to protect yourself a little bit, not to mention, the injuries that he's dealt with and how, he had that little elbow thing at the end of 24.
Yeah.
So I think, which, seemed like it wasn't that serious, but even still, I think the APY, of course, is not as important, but it is. I look at the APY as like the headline, right? People are going to read that, and no one really cares about what happens after that. Sometimes some players do, right? Like for some players, the guarantees are the headline.
Right.
Based on everything that I'm hearing about Brock and his contract to this point, I think APY is going to be, the big thing. And that's probably good for the 49ers because I think they can get away with, paying him between 55, 60 in APY, but they could protect themselves as far as the guarantees go. If you look at Jordan Love's contract, his guarantees are pretty low. And I think it's kind of the same thing, right? Like similar, they're paying him after, just one season of seeing him as a starter, right? So in that sense, they're protecting themselves a little bit. And so, I think the 49ers will kind of look to do the same thing. I do trust that it'll be structured in a way that's beneficial and safe for the team and not too crazy. But yeah, as far as the APY goes, I'd be comfortable with that range that Diana mentioned.
Absolutely. We're talking with Steph Sanchez.
Oh, sorry. For a second, you were muted.
Oh, okay. We're talking with Steph Sanchez, who's streaming live from Cell Block 9. Steph, as we round things out, where can everyone find you and all of your content?
I am at work, so yeah, it basically is a cell block. You can find me at Steph49K at pretty much all the major social media platforms, Twitter, or X, Instagram, what's the other, YouTube,
everywhere,
TikTok, everywhere, all the big ones, Steph49K. So make sure you guys check that out. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much, Steph, for coming on here. When we come back, we'll be talking Golden State Warriors basketball and trade rumors right here on the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Notorious Law.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That gives you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
What's up, guys? If you're looking for the best coverage of all Northern California sports, including 49ers, Giants, Warriors, then check out the NorCal Sports Report with yours truly, Andre Fernandez, every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We have guests every single week talking 49ers, Giants, Warriors, Sharks, San Jose Earthquakes, and a whole lot more, plus 3C2A. You do not want to miss this show. So tune in Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific time to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Minutes past the hour here on the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And oh my God, before I can even get to the Warriors trade rumors, a trade went down this past weekend that was just left me completely flabbergasted. I can't believe what I saw in this trade. The Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. Boo! Of course, it had to be the Lakers, right? For Anthony Davis and a couple of dudes and a 2029 first-round draft pick. How in the fuck do you give up a generational talent for that package? I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. How can you do that? How can you make this trade? You're giving up Luka Doncic, a guy that got you to the NBA Finals last season, for Anthony Davis because you believe that defense wins games. If you watch that press conference with Nico Harrison and Jason Kidd, embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. If I'm the ownership, I'm firing Nico Harrison. The way that he described how the trade talks started, embarrassing. And the fact that you didn't even try and trade Luka to the highest bidder. Think about the package you could have gotten for Luka Doncic if you went and let the whole league know that you were going to trade him. Instead, you only talked to Rob Pelinka about this trade. How does that happen? I don't think that Nico Harrison knew or realized that he just got hoodwinked by Rob Pelinka. If you only talk to one person about this trade and you take the trade, you got played. And you got played hard. The look on Jason Kidd's face at that press conference, it looked like he wanted to punch him in the face. Embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. And it's just unexcusable. Terrence says, you were the one that brought up the Lakers. You could have avoided it, but not talking about it. But I agree the Mavs trade. Because at the end of the day, Terrence, it's like, why would you make this trade? Now, look, for the Lakers, hey, all good, dude. Like, I'm props. If I'm Rob Pelinka and the Lakers, as soon as I hang up that phone, I'm like, oh my God, I fucking did it. Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, he fell for it. The fact that he made this trade, Nico Harrison, shows that he's incompetent as a general manager. Absolutely incompetent. I don't see how you can even make this trade. And on top of that, you have this. This comes courtesy of Bleacher Report. Lucas says, I texted Mark Cuban and said, I'm so confused. He wrote back, that makes two of us. Now, obviously, Mark Cuban is not the majority owner anymore. He already sold his shares in that. He's still a part of the organization, but not nearly as powerful as he used to be. And look what happens when he does that. They trade Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis, a guy who's hurt all the time, consistently hurt every single season. A couple of dudes and a draft pick in 2029. Not even next draft. He got fucking hoodwinked. And he doesn't even realize it. He thinks he made a trade to make his team better. No, you didn't. Now, is Anthony Davis a good player? Yes, he's a great player. He's an all-pro. He's an all-star. He's extremely good. But not for Luka Doncic. That's a generational talent. And you traded him. Because, well, he doesn't really stay in shape all that much. And, it's just like, you got to be kidding me. And I'd be saying this if you went to any other team, not just the Lakers, but if you went to any team, I'd be saying the same thing. This is the dumbest trade I've ever seen in my life. It's embarrassing if you're an organization. And then we had this. So Rob Pelinka, now being the fucking genius that he is, which I was never a fan of him. Now I'm like, oh my God, he completely hoodwinked Nico Harrison. It's unbelievable. He had this to say about bringing in Luka Doncic.
The second person I want to thank is anytime there's a trade or a transaction, there has to be a partner. And I want to thank the Dallas Mavericks, led by their GM, Nico Harrison, who was also very instrumental in bringing this opportunity to us and then staying true to the negotiations throughout where it could be culminated with the trade being finalized. And
he groomed him, basically. This is like what child predators do. They get you to agree to a secret and then don't tell anybody else. Okay, it's just between you and I because, we're friends. He probably even convinced them, hey, look, if anything, I'm taking the risk because Luka, his health isn't very good. He doesn't take care of himself. He's injured a lot. So if anything, I'm taking the risk. I'm giving you AD. And for somehow, some fucking way, Nico Harrison agreed to this trade and was like, yeah, this is going to be good. He didn't even tell Jason Kidd. He told him at the 11th hour. And then has the audacity to say, this is a trade that both me and Jay Kidd signed off on. Like, no, he didn't. Threw him under the bus. And I'm sure Jason Kidd was just like, dude, what are we doing right now? Why would we trade a generational talent for Anthony Davis? And don't get me wrong, Anthony Davis is a damn good player. But this doesn't make any sense. You could have gotten a king's ransom for Luka Doncic. When we talk about Luka, we're not talking about LeBron James. No. When you talk about Luka Doncic, you're talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's at that level. He's one of the top 3 elite players in the league right now. He's only 25 years old. And you traded him for a 32-year-old Anthony Davis who's injury plagued every single season. I can't. I don't know what to do. I can't. It's so stupid. It's just so stupid. So then there's that. It's just unbelievable. Guys, let's take a break. When we come back, I'm going to break down the Warriors trade rumors and the possibility of the Warriors getting Kevin Durant back in a Warriors uniform. You're listening to NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, IE Sports Radio family and other sports families. My name is Alden Kay, and I want to welcome you to the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. If you're a fan of the Valley and the Grand Canyon State like me, then I've got the show for you. Tune in every week, where I will update you and give you the latest news for the Arizona Cardinals, Phoenix Suns, Arizona Diamondbacks, ASU Sun Devils, U of A Wildcats, GCU Antelope, and of course, the NAU Lumberjacks. Again, if you're a Valley sports fan and like all that is desert sports like me, tune in every week here on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll see you then.
Hello, sports fans. It's me, your boy Larry B, and I want to walk you through the world of sports. No, not just the mainstream major TV deal type sports, although those are important too. But let me be your guide through your journey of all sports, from college to the pros, the minors, and everything in between. Each week, we are talking sports galore with true diehards just like you, from a hardcore fan's perspective that's sure to quench your thirst around leagues you may know all too well, and some you may even discover here. That's right, sports fans. If you love sports of all kinds, enjoy hearing amazing sports stories, and respect all sports because you know how difficult any of them can be to play or compete in, then this is your show. Join me, your boy Larry B, on The Defining Moment each week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and let the sports come to you.
For the minutes past the hour here on the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And today now we talk about the Golden State Warriors and what they got cooking behind the scenes. Now, we knew that there were some trade talks about the Warriors trying to get Vucevic and Zach LaVine, trying to make moves to improve their roster. But the Warriors said, you know what? I don't want to waste our time with Zach LaVine or Vucevic. We want bigger fish. We want better players. We want all-stars to be right there with Steph Curry and be competitive either this year or going into next year as well. And so then the Warriors started calling every single team about their all-star, which to me was a bad look. It's like, oh my God, are you that desperate? Come on. But then this rumor popped up, and I was like, oh, fucking yeah. A 3-team trade involving the Warriors, Heat, and Suns, sending Andrew Wiggins to the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler to the Suns, has been discussed. Both Warriors and Suns have cluttered salary structures, but both ownership groups have shown willingness to pay up for the players they desire. The Warriors also have potential path to help guide Butler to Phoenix if they pull the trigger on an Andrew Wiggins-centric trade with Miami that has been discussed. And this would also send Kevin Durant to the Warriors. Now, if you look at this makes a lot of sense because, I mean, Andrew Wiggins is already making a ton of money. I'm going to pull up his contract right now. But he's already making a ton of money. And so you can't just trade somebody just, oh, well, you take this player and I'll take a cheaper one in return. No, it has to match. It has to balance out when you do that. So when we look at Andrew Wiggins' contract, okay, this is courtesy of Sport Track. When we look at at his contract, let me get that out of the way. He's scheduled to make $30 million next season on a player option. Actually, that's in 2 years. Next year, he's scheduled to make $28 million, and then 30 on a player option the following year. So you got 1 year of control with him after this season. Now we go over to Kevin Durant. He's still signed through next season, which the Warriors would handsomely give him an extension. I think they would love to have him back. And he's scheduled to make $54 million next year, which I think they would restructure his contract and give him an extension. And this is a guy that people were like, well, I don't know. He's 36. He's kind of old. I don't know. Dude, he scores 26.9 points a game. 6 rebounds, 4 assists. He's shooting 52% from the field. Kevin Durant understands our offense, and Kevin Durant has played with Steph Curry. And when you put both of them on the same team, it's going to be absolutely badass to get Kevin Durant back in a Warriors uniform. Now, I've heard talks. People were like, well, I don't think this would happen. Look, Jimmy Butler has already made it clear that he wants out of Miami in a bad way. And he even said that he wants to go to Phoenix. That's where he desires to be at. And so if you're the Warriors, you're like, hey, look, check this out. We can get you to Phoenix if Phoenix gives us Kevin Durant. Now, there is talk about Draymond Green and other players possibly being traded as well. I think at this point, this would be all hands on deck. Whatever you want, we'll give it to you. And yes, I saw as well. Jimmy Butler already, they had a trade in place to send Andrew Wiggins and probably some more to the Miami Heat for Jimmy Butler. Butler turned that down because he did not have a desire to sign an extension with the Golden State Warriors. And so I think the reason why this is taking so long is because they are working out that extension with Kevin Durant. Now, there is talks as well that Phoenix is asking for a lot. I mean, why wouldn't they? Kevin Durant's one of the best players in the league. I mean, it's not like they have Nico Harrison over there negotiating. He would have done the trade already. But this would be a huge move for the Golden State Warriors. Both the Suns and the Warriors sit tied for 10th place in the Western Conference. Something has to change. Not Larry Beal. That's the guy who runs the show. Robert Beal doesn't. That's not even Robert Beal. What's his fucking name? I have two. Robert Beal plays for the Warriors. Anyway, Beal doesn't want to waive his no trade clause, so he's not going anywhere. You're not trading Devin Booker. So in this case, you move Kevin Durant and you bring in Jimmy Butler to give you a different look. Bradley Beal, thank you. There's too many Beals out there right now. It's just crazy. Jessica Beals. You bring in Jimmy Butler. That sends Kevin Durant to the Warriors. The Warriors send Andrew Wiggins to the Miami Heat, who at this point is probably saying, hey, look, we'll take anybody just to get this guy the fuck out of Miami. And that's what they're going to do. And they're getting a guy in Andrew Wiggins who's having a really good year. Probably the best year he's had since the year we won the title in 2022. So this is exciting news for the Warriors. Now, here's the other thing. Get a little closer here. If you make this trade, if you somehow make this trade without giving up Jonathan Kuminga, that's incredible. But Kuminga's guaranteed to get a fat contract at the end of the season. So let's say Kuminga's part of this trade. Wouldn't it be crazy, though, if after this season, there's another guy that becomes a free agent, possibly has a player option, but could leave if he wanted to, and that's LeBron James. It wouldn't surprise me if LeBron opted out, because obviously he's going to want the biggest contract possible, and the Warriors signed him. And can you imagine if you had Steph, Durant, and LeBron James on the same team? That would be insane. I think it's a possibility, but that would be insane. But looking at this trade that we've been talking about, if you're able to trade for Kevin Durant and not give up Kuminga or Podziemski, that is absolute money of a trade. Now, I would imagine, yes, Wiggins is going to go because his contract balances it out, but I think there are players that are going to go with him. Kuminga might be one of them. We'll see how it shakes out, but at this point, look, you could argue, well, you shouldn't mortgage your future. You know, Kuminga is your future along with Podziemski and Moody. And I think at this point, I think Joe Lacob's like, look, I'm sick of losing. I'm sick of being a team that's, developing these players. I want to fucking win now. Get me Kevin Durant. Let these other guys, trade these other kids out of here, and we'll bring in another player to complement the two of you and go after a ring next season. And even this season, having Kevin Durant on your team with Steph Curry, you're going to get right back into that chase. Because now you have Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, Trace Jackson Davis. I mean, that's a good lineup. And if you somehow hang on to Jonathan Kuminga, imagine having Steph, Kuminga, KD, Draymond, and Jackson Davis or Quentin Post or Looney at the center. Woo! That's going to be good. That's going to be competitive. That's going to put you right back in the talk about being in competition for an NBA title. So I think that getting Kevin Durant's going to fucking save them. I'm so excited. I'm checking my phone nonstop, trying to see if this trade gets pushed through. Because it's got to happen. It's got to happen. They got to make a move. Because when we talk about other moves around the league, obviously we talk about, this is some Sacramento Kings news. The Kings traded De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs in a multi-team trade where Zach LaVine went to Sacramento. A lot of people were like, why the fuck would you trade De'Aaron Fox? He didn't want to resign there. He didn't want to stay there. So they made that trade to make the Spurs better. Now they have their center, and they got De'Aaron Fox. Big and tall. Or short and tall, I mean. They're covered on both ends. Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox, that's going to be That's going to be huge. Now, Sauce brings up a good point, and the ratings will go up. So here's my thing when it comes to something like that. When we talk about ratings going up, do you think the NBA would be opposed to having Steph Curry and Kevin Durant back together again with Draymond Green over in Golden State? Absolutely not. You've seen the ratings go down in the NBA across the league. The one thing that could bring that back is allowing these teams to make these monster trades and get these players in bigger markets. Getting Kevin Durant back on the West Coast. Getting Luka Doncic on the West Coast. You could argue the Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic trade should never even happen. Should never been approved. But the NBA is like, fuck yeah. You want to put Luka in LA? Go right a fucking head. That's going to increase ratings. That's going to skyrocket. And if you get Kevin Durant in Golden State, sending him to San Francisco with Steph Curry, imagine how that's going to be when the Warriors play the Lakers this season. That's going to be a primetime event that everyone's going to tune into. That's marquee. That's, what do you call it? Primetime TV right there. And that's going to help the NBA because that's what they want to see. So I think that the Warriors, if they pull this off, they're going to sign him to probably a 3-year extension. Work that money so that they can go get somebody else as well, or resign Kuminga if they are able to keep him. But the clock is ticking because the trade deadline expires at 12 o'clock Pacific time tomorrow. And Terrence says, I'm surprised the NBA didn't veto the Luka trade like David Stern did with Chris Paul, because they want him there. When they heard this, they were like, oh, God, Nico Harrison's a fucking idiot. But yes, we would love to have Luka in LA. Imagine those games now with Luka and LeBron on TNT, on ESPN. Big time. Couple that with Steph and Durant back together again. Now you're talking about money-making games all the way around. I hope this trade happens. This trade needs to happen. Absolutely needs to happen. I mean, how could you not? Now, when you look at Kevin Durant's stats, right? This is courtesy of ESPN. What is it? Points per game, right? So this is when he was a Warrior. 25, 26, 26. It didn't slow down. When he went to Brooklyn, 26, 29, 29, because he was more part of the offense. And then in Phoenix, 26, 27, 26. Arguably, some of his lowest scoring seasons are with Phoenix, but he's got other stars on there with him. If you bring in a guy that's averaging this year 26.9 a game, nearly 27 points a game, you cannot turn that down. You have to find a way to make that happen. Now, there's talk about, well, Draymond Green might be traded because the Phoenix Suns covet him. They want him. I don't know how I feel about giving up Draymond Green, but if you can get Kevin Durant, then I would say, if you can get Kevin Durant and keep Kuminga but trade Draymond, I would do it. I love Draymond. Love him to death. But if I can keep Kuminga over Draymond, I would do it. Because that's more scoring. That's more athletic, dynamic ability out of all three of them. But we still have to wait and see if this trade goes down. Now, the other thing, too, was this came last night. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Somebody was waiting for a plane, and they saw Mike Dunleavy at LAX airport. Who's he waiting for? Where is he going? Why is he on the personal plane? What's happening? Why didn't you go ask him? I'm mad at the guy who recorded this because he didn't follow up.
Sorry.
He should have just stayed there. He should have just stayed there and watched what he did. Now, I highly doubt Kevin Durant was flying in, but my point is that what was he doing there and what was he trying to accomplish? Because it looks like he's waiting for somebody or he's about to board a plane to go work on something. Now there's talk about Zion Williams. I could care less about Zion. I think he's a really good player, but he's too fat. You want to talk about a weight issue? They're like, oh, Luka's here. He's got a weight issue. Zion's got a weight issue. But then again, on the Warriors, we run so much, he might just burn it off during the games. He's like Pablo Sandoval. Oh, look at that. Here it is right here. Let me pull this up instead. Here we go. If you can read this, it says, "Get it done, Mike." Video. My dad was just on a flight from SFO to LAX. And told Mike, "Go get Kevin Durant," in the middle of the aisle, and everyone started looking around. Said he was on the phone the whole time and looked super stressed. So hopefully this means Kevin Durant's on the way. I don't know what he was doing there, but it better be for Durant because we need him back. Zaw says, yeah, Zion hasn't had a full season. Yeah, he's always hurt. Bro's always injured. He is. And he's always overweight. He looks like a Pillsbury Doughboy. He's a good player, though. Don't get me wrong. But he needs to be better at his conditioning, for sure. For sure. Zion is the modern day Mike Sweetney. Mike Sweetney. Except better, yeah. He really is. Tractor trailer. Kind of like that. But dude, if the Warriors can pull this off, holy shit. This will put them right back in contention for a championship. Mike Dunleavy, just get it done, dude. Just get it done. Whatever you got to do, just get it done. Guys, that's going to do it for the NorCal Sports Report. I want to thank Larry B for putting this on. Wait a minute. Hold on. There is one more thing I want to talk about. And I almost forgot to do it. I think Larry would have hit me up and hit me over the head with a hammer. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about this promotion right here, which is the streaming event on Super Bowl Sunday. Yes, IE Sports will bring you nonstop coverage of Super Bowl 59, starting at 7 a.m., leading you all the way to kickoff, and the USRN audio broadcast, play-by-play broadcast of Super Bowl 59. We're going to have shows streaming all day long right here on IE Sports Radio, including yours truly will be streaming at 9 a.m. Pacific time, talking about, or giving you coverage of Super Bowl 59 and talking about any, moves that the Niners do and where the Niners are going for next season. So definitely check out my show at 9 a.m. Check out all the shows. Streaming all day on IE Sports Radio. You can open up X, hit the IE Sports Radio icon, and you could be listening to nonstop coverage of Super Bowl 59 all day long. That's what we bring to you guys, and we're looking forward to that this Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, here on IE Sports Radio. I hate the Chiefs. I hate the Eagles. But I want the Eagles to win because I hate the Chiefs more. So there's that. But that's going to do it for the NorCal Sports Report. I want to thank Larry B for putting this on. I want to thank Taryn Rodriguez, who was here in the chat, laying it down. Great catch, I know. I almost slipped up there. Will the Niners get Myles Garrett and make their defense unstoppable? Will the Warriors get Kevin Durant? If I have an offseason, or if I have the next couple weeks where Bay Area sports gets Myles Garrett and Kevin Durant, holy shit, it's going to be like Christmas all over again. Because both these players will make their teams so much better. Check out the IE Sports Radio broadcasts all day long streaming event for Super Bowl 59. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can catch me at 9 a.m. on Super Bowl Sunday, bringing you coverage of Super Bowl 59 and an insight on the 49ers and where they're going for next season. I have a couple of guests I'll be bringing on, confirming that as the days go on. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you follow me over on X at Dre Area Sports. Subscribe to my channel, Dre Area Sports on YouTube, and subscribe to IE Sports Radio on YouTube and follow them on X for nonstop coverage of football, basketball, baseball, everything you can think of, hockey. We got it. This is the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.